welcome back. Through the hallway. We are here, all four of us. Phil has joined us. We're gonna talk some basketball. Starting with hey, no one cares, but maybe people care. Derrick Rose is a Knick again.
Yes, sir.
Derrick Rose is a Knick again. For those of us who don't forget stuff, Derrick Rose last time as a Knick, he just dipped on the squad, didn't say anything. Of course, there was things going on in his life.
So before Kyrie.
Yeah, you didn't pull the Kyrie. Facts. But Derrick Rose and Knick, they traded Dennis Smith Jr. and the second round pick. Good trade, bad trade. He had a game last night. He was pretty productive. The Knicks did lose in a tight one, but Derrick Rose looked good. Is this a good move for the Knicks, John? I'm gonna start with you.
It's a good move for the Knicks. Last time we had Derrick Rose,
good move for the Knicks, except for Russell Westbrook.
18 points a game scorer, bro. You just handing that bum ass triangle offense, bro. With freaking bum ass Phil Jackson, who wasn't coaching. So with that being said, bro, do I think that it's going to be that Derrick Rose? No, I don't think it's going to be that Derrick Rose. I think that he's going to be more of a role player, more of a leader, more of a guy that's going to mentor the younger guys and teach them how to play in Tibbs' system and understand what Tibbs' system is and how you can be a Tibbs guy. And that's why he has, he has Top Gibson back there. He has Derrick Rose. So those are some core guys from the glory days with Tibbs in Chicago. So right now it's really about building culture and building like just a winning attitude and great habits. And I think that this Derrick Rose trade ultimately does that for them.
I think it's a big trade for the Knicks personally. I think that the Knicks right now have a decision to make. They're at a crossroads where do we want to be a team that contends for playoff contention, which hasn't been the thing over the last, 5-10 years. So that might be enough for the Knicks right now. That might be considered enough. Or do we want to put ourselves in position to actually possibly get a star, whether that be this year or next year, and see if we can actually be a formidable team, a championship contender or a deep run playoff type of team. But this is a move in the right direction. I think the Knicks finally got a true scorer. I look around the team, and yes, Julius Randle's putting up pretty good numbers. RJ's playing 50 minutes a game, and he's dropping under 20. But Derrick Rose is a guy that maybe he doesn't average 25, 22, 23 points a game, but he can give you 40. He can give you 50, something that we don't see from – not see from Knick players.
He's not 2010, Todd.
He doesn't have to be 2010. Last year with Minnesota,
points, bro.
He did with Minnesota. I'm not expecting him to do it every night, but this is a guy that can do it. Who else on that team can do it? I'm not seeing RJ dropping 40 ever. You got to show me when RJ say I can shoot.
You heard my name, RJ, bro.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Derrick Rose can shoot 25 shots and make 17 of them in a game. I don't know about RJ. Anyway, I do think that he's a good look for the Knicks. I do want to see what else the Knicks have in store. I am a big advocate for trading RJ and seeing if you can package him with a star, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Go ahead, guys.
Listen, man, I don't know what the Knicks is thinking, man. I don't know what the Knicks is thinking, man. You trade Kristaps to bring back in Dennis Smith Jr. Then you don't play Dennis Smith Jr. Then you trade him along with the draft pick for an aging Derrick Rose. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Emmanuel quickly supposed to be the future?
Yeah, he was pretty good. But I'm expecting Eford Payton to get into the bottom of the bench. Or maybe
from the debut that I saw, Eford Payton was leading the point guards in minutes, and Emmanuel Quickly and Derrick Rose are splitting the minutes. So it's like, what are the Knicks doing? Are y'all really trying to go for the playoffs right now? I just don't understand what the Knicks are doing right now.
Maybe they're trying to boost the market for Payton and trade him.
That's what I'm thinking.
Who want Eford Payton? He like Carson Wentz, but worse.
But you may be able to grab another role player for Eford Payton, and then my thought process is move everybody and get you a star. Maybe Eford Payton's a part of a 3-team deal with RJ that gets them a star. Because I'm big on the trade RJ stock, but I'm fighting against all Knicks fans.
Man, I don't know what the Knicks are doing. I'm truly indifferent on the trade. I don't think it makes them that much better. They definitely didn't get worse. Feel a little sorry for Dennis Smith Jr. He got drafted by my Mavs, and he's just becoming this journeyman player that's getting traded every year. But Derrick Rose, I feel like the move was strictly just to reunite him with Tibbs. He doesn't really make them that much better, and I don't even know if necessarily making a playoff push for a 7th, 8th seed to go play the Celtics or the Brooklyn Nets is necessarily even a good move.
I think for the Knicks, it might be.
I mean, for me, New York's going to stay relevant no matter what. They're always one of the most valuable teams, even when they're shit, basically.
Yeah, you don't live in New York, bro.
Yeah. About that for sure. But I'm just I'm one of those people. If I want to see a move, I want to see a move. Like you said, I want to move for a superstar. I want somebody who's going to take us to the next level. Derrick Rose may get a little bit of, he may bring the next follow. He won't even bring the next following up. I just don't know what the point of the trade is. Truly, he's not a superstar.
I really think it was about getting a scorer, someone that could actually score the basket. Could give you 30 in 2 games straight. 27. 30.
I don't know if it's more so about giving a basket. I think the Knicks offense needs that guy that's going to push the tempo, and Derrick Rose is definitely going to be that guy to push the tempo up and down the floor and create more opportunities for other guys. Right now, like our pace is one of the slowest in the league. And
that's not personnel.
That's what?
That's Knicks and Mo.
That's not the personnel. It's the coaching.
No, definitely the coaching, but I think that Derrick Rose has a fine line of knowing how to push that tempo and make sure that offense runs better. He did it in Chicago too. Similar offense, bro.
D'Antoni with that same personnel, every shot going up in 8 seconds. But
and that's why the Nets is the worst in defense, and that's why the Knicks is number 1. So
that's why the Nets give it to y'all in the playoffs, though. But my question is the trade really worth it? Like, do you even think Derrick Rose is an 8 to 10 win different guy? Like, I just don't get the point.
I don't think we want to be an 8 to 10 win different guy. We want to be we just a margin outside of the playoffs right now, and I think that we're like a half game out of the playoffs right now. So Derrick Rose definitely adds more firepower to that team as leadership and experiences. And like I said before, he just gives us an opportunity to have more possessions and for guys to create shots for other guys. And Dennis Smith Jr. He Dennis Smith, as much as I love Dennis Smith Jr. when he came in, he's the shadow of a player that he was. He's nowhere near he was. We dropped him down to the G League. So Rob, you're saying we traded for him to trade away. He wasn't a value to the team. That's been clear with the decision that the Knicks made with dropping him to the G League. He needs some work on his game. He's going to the G League, and hopefully he can get that and bounce back and become a solid pro.
Can I say what Rob is saying is you traded Kristaps Porzingis for the guy.
We traded Kristaps Porzingis for the first round pick that we have, which is the Mavericks and the Knicks. The Knicks have 2 first round picks. We traded for a second round pick.
I got to say one last thing about your organization in terms of that trade. Y'all drafted Frank Ntilikina over Dennis Smith to then go trade Kristaps for Dennis Smith and the pick.
Right. So you got to understand that there's a whole leadership change. That whole regime is gone. And then we're trying to scrub away with the remnants of what happened with that regime. So therefore, this guy is gone. I'm pretty sure.
Was that you that said that you thought that was Phil Jackson's FU to the Knicks on his way out? The pick of fake Nick, I can't even pronounce.
Yeah, I think it was. That definitely was.
But y'all still got him on your squad?
That was.
Frank didn't get no minutes, bro. I mean, once again, we talk about trade value. What are you going to trade Frank for, bro? For a hot dog? Come on, son. Nobody wants Frank Ntilikina right now.
Let's move on, man. Let's talk about another trade. Tired of talking about the Knicks.
Want to talk about some other trades? Well, it's trade rumors, so we can really just spice this up however we want to. Of course, you always think the stars from the teams that suck are players that are looked for to add to teams that should go to the championship or to make this team just a little bit more better to compete for a championship. So I know Bradley Beal has been spoken about a lot. Zach LaVine has been spoken about a lot. I want to bring one to the table just to see how you guys feel. I feel like Charlotte needs to make a move. And I'm not exactly sure which one they need to move, but the way that it's looking right now with LaMelo Ball, Charlotte needs to move one of those little guys from and not because they're not good. Both of them are really good, Devontae Graham and Terry Rozier, Scary Terry. But I'm looking at Charlotte and maybe it's because I don't have a home team right now because Russell Westbrook is in Washington. But I just look at these teams that are at that area where they can be good in a couple years and really compete with the post-LeBron era of basketball, which basically could mean the Steph Curry reigns again with Splat. Who knows? But Charlotte has some pieces that kind of remind me of what Golden State had. And one of the biggest moves that Golden State had to make was moving Monte Ellis and putting Klay Thompson in that starting position to become the team that we know them to be over the last 5 to 6 years. So I really think, and I'm passing to you guys, who would you move and why?
I wanna actually chime in on this one. So I actually just dropped an article on my site today about places I like to see Bradley Beal go, and I did a top 3, and my number 2 team was actually Charlotte. So when you hear Bradley Beal in the rumors, you hear a lot of different places, mostly contenders. I have him. I think he'd be a really good fit for Charlotte, and it's kind of what you pointed to. I have these conversations with John and Rob all the time. I am a huge LaMelo Ball fan.
I am not, but continue.
I think, outside, you can look at his stat sheet, but I think outside of that, when I watch him play, he just has that sixth sense of the way the game is. He sees things before it happens. He knows based off what he does, what's going to happen next, how the defense is going to react. And they actually currently sit 6th in the Eastern Conference right now. The Eastern Conference is very top heavy. So, if you're sitting at 6th there, I think making a move for Beal would be good for them. Beal's only 27 years old, so he still has a lot of years left in him. And that'll give, LaMelo Ball. One thing I don't want to see happen to LaMelo is I don't want too much on his shoulders. So, yes, it's good to have a ball in his hands and so on. But I think it would be good to give him a backcourt mate that he could really run and grow with and that he could actually learn from. Beal is, at that age where he's a vet, but he's still young and has some time left in him. So you can teach him the game a little bit, spread the court for him. And again, you have to clear up space for LaMelo. He started off the season, coming off the bench. I think he's shown enough through Rozier's injury that he will be able to be the main point guard on your team. The Gordon Hayward signing doesn't look too bad now. They gave him a lot of money. He's performing a little bit. So I just think you move Rozier, maybe Malik Monk, who I won't say he has great stock, but, he almost fell off the face of the earth. And now this year he's making a little resurgence, doing well. So I think you package Rozier up with him, a few picks, and just move him on, open up that spot for LaMelo, and then you get, a backcourt with Melo and Beal. You got Gordon Hayward, Miles Bridges on the break, which him and LaMelo seem to have a nice connection, and just watch them grow.
I like it, actually. I'm intrigued. What else we got on the market?
I was gonna say, I'm definitely looking at Charlotte. They definitely need to make a trade. Melo stock is growing higher and higher, bro, and he should be starting soon, and you're gonna have to make a decision in either sitting your players and letting them be happy. I don't think Devontae Graham want to ride the bench. I don't think Terry Rozier want to ride the bench either.
I don't think they should have to. I think they're good enough to start. I just don't know if they fit with the 6'10" point guard who's better with the ball in his hands.
No, and that's why I say that one of them has to go. If I'm a team, the Clippers are actually looking for a guard. So if I'm the Clippers, I'm trying to get either Devontae Graham or Terry Rozier, and I'll try to get them and package either one of them with Miles Bridges and give up Pat Bev and Marcus Morris. I think that Pat
Miles Bridges away from LaMelo Ball. It's not happening.
I don't know, bro. I mean,
I would not in his first year, not with the chemistry they have. I'm pretty sure that chemistry flows off of the court as well. I wouldn't do it, but I do think that the Clippers are a good place to make a move. Maybe you can't get too much, but they could. I think they can make a move for one of those guards. The Clippers might have to give up more than they're getting, though. It might not. I don't think that would be a straight up even trade. The Clippers need.
No, it wouldn't be a straight up even trade. They also have Lou Wills on the market too. So, like I said, there's three guys I would trade would be Lou Will, Pat Bev, and Marcus Morris, and I'll try to get back Miles Bridges and one of those two guards, either Terry Rozier or Devontae Graham. When it comes to Bradley Beal, man, I'm gonna go in a different direction. I'd like to see Bradley Beal in San Antonio. I think San Antonio Bradley Beal would do just fine. They're doing well right now. San Antonio has a lot of guards, a lot of pieces to give up. You can give up. For me, I would give up Devontae Murray, Keldon Johnson, and some picks. You could also go with what's my boy over there? oh man, forget his name. Lonnie Walker, you can give him up as well. Like they have a lot of pieces that they can fill, and right now what Washington need is talent and young talent at that. That's not going to come at a high cost, especially when you have that deal with Russell Westbrook, who has a 4-year, three more years on his contract, $140 million. So you get some talent for cheap, and you get to play with a young core that Westbrook loves to play with. And I think that's a win-win situation for San Antonio and for the Wizards. Just my thoughts and opinions.
Beal and DeRozan.
Yeah, I like that move, John. As far as Charlotte, just send Devontae Graham to a winner, man. Let him showcase his talents in the playoffs.
The thing that scares me with sending Devontae Graham to a winner is, can he be a starter on a winner? Because
you don't gotta be a starter.
Can he defend? That's the. I mean, if I see Devontae Graham in the Western Conference or Eastern Conference Finals, I'm assuming that the coaching and the best player on the team is going to run sets to go at him.
Hey, man, he ain't the only person that happened to. It happened to Golden State when they had Stephen Curry.
Yeah, but Stephen Curry can hit 10 threes to negate that.
You're right. Still, man, I just want to see my Kansas product shine, man. I think he's prime for the prime time, as Dickie V likes to say. But as far as Bradley Beal, I got 2 destinations for him. I would love to see him in Miami. I think they have the pieces to trade with Washington that they would be enticed with. They got, I mean, I know everyone's in love with Tyler Hero, but at the end of the day, if you got a chance to match Bradley Beal and Jimmy Butler, they're a half a piece away from going right back to the finals and truly competing. They lost the Lakers in 6 last year, so they weren't that far off. But aside from Miami, Phil, we talked about this a lot, but the other place is Milwaukee, dog. If you put a true number 1 scorer, somebody that can get their own bucket in the crunch time with Giannis, and you can somehow keep Chris Middleton over there and let him slide to number 3, woo, I can see them competing with Brooklyn, with LA, with Denver, whoever. Because I think Bradley Beal is really about that life. And like he's another player who I think, put him in a primetime position to perform in the playoffs with a decent organization that has a solid roster around them. It's just a matter of just rolling the ball out and letting the kid play, man.
Hey, I have a question. I was talking to a Knicks fan, my boy David Roman, shout out to him. And he was saying that because I was talking that they should make a trade for one of these guys as well. Saying before they get too high and mighty about making a trade for one of these guys, has any of these big names like Bradley Beal, Zach LaVine, even Devin Booker in this case, Devontae Graham, Terry Rozier, well, not really Terry Rozier, but Devontae Graham, even Terry Rozier last year, were they winners ever on the team that they were leading? Like, yes, they're scoring 35 points a game with Bradley Beal, but were they winners on these teams that they were leading? Bradley Beal, was he a winner on that team? And I remember Washington being in playoffs once or twice, but was he the leader? Or is it basically the question is, if you get Bradley Beal to a Milwaukee, if you get Zach LaVine to or even a Knicks situation, does that make them, like Phil said earlier, does that make them an 8 or 10 win better team? Or does it just make them a superstar that can score points on a bigger stage?
For Bradley Beal's sake, when I saw him in Washington, it was a 1A, 1B thing kind of thing with him and John Wall. And they were another team that, I blame management for them not doing what they should have been doing. They were always one piece away from really, truly competing. Devin Booker, from what I saw last year in the bubble, they went undefeated. And
it was 7 games in the bubble. They were still 10 games under 500.
Those were 7 of the most competitive basketball games we saw all year, right? And it wasn't like he didn't do his thing against top-notch teams, 10-game winners over the Clippers, who a lot of people, I'm looking at John right now, had winning the finals. So I can say that no, they weren't winners, but what I can say is yes, I believe that putting in the right position in the right environment, they will be winners. Zach LaVine balling, dog. I mean,
yeah, he's balling, but
85, man. It's not.
My argument was that they don't really have, what do you expect them to do? What do you expect them to do when their rosters just don't match up against the rosters that they're playing against? Like, if you put them in those situations, maybe we'll find out. I think I was saying that about Devin Booker last year.
DeAndre Ayton missed 25 games in the season.
Right.
If he doesn't miss those 25 games, not saying he's an 8 to 10 win, but They were like, what, 3 games out? I think he definitely gives you at least 3 wins. And if you look at the Suns this year, they're right in the mix of things.
Hey, don't do that. Because they added a huge piece in Chris Paul.
But they added the huge piece because they had Devin Booker.
Okay.
I don't think they make that move if they don't have Devin Booker.
Quick question, y'all. I know we did quotes. I know we did in the NBA, but there's one more NBA topic that just ran across my screen. I knew we don't got a lot of time, but I knew he was going to end up talking Nets. So they still championship or bust?
Still championship or bust.
Oh, wait a minute. They weren't championship or bust for you before.
It's championship or bust. After watching them play a couple of games and seeing what they're doing, it's championship or bust. But with that being said, Nets they have at least a 3-year window for me to win a championship.
Do they have leadership issues?
I don't think so. I think that their leader is out right now, which is KD. As much as people don't want to say,
on Twitter talk about free me and all this other stuff.
Yeah, because he was playing the game, and then in the middle of the game, they took him out the game when he was winning. Mm-hmm. Like that hasn't happened in the NBA ever for non-basketball related reasons. Like this is something that's unprecedented.
But I mean, at the end of the day, if it has to do with safety and safety protocol, and they need to yank them off the floor, like that's what they got to do. I do think that they have. I want to say that it is championship or bust for them based off of sheer talent alone. Mm-hmm. I'm a huge Kyrie fan. I feel like he can go out and get it just as much as anybody else at his size. You know, when you used to make your creative player in 2K back in the day, or maybe even NBA Live, like you were making them to play like Kyrie. But I think they do have leadership issues. I don't even want to sit here and say KD is really too much of their leader. And I think that's what sets like the LeBrons apart from the KD. Like we're just giving KD leadership off of what? KD couldn't get it done as the leader in OKC with Russell Westbrook. He ran from the situation, went to a situation that already had leaders in your Steph Curry and your Draymond Green, and now he's out again. And I don't see too much leadership going on from him.
I see a lot of leadership going on with him.
Hey, I see a lot of it.
Hold on. On top of that, we giving Steve Nash his first coaching gig with these superstar guys, someone who's not proven. I know if I don't want to say Phil Jackson's on the older side, but I know if a Greg Popovich was coaching DeAndre Jordan, he wouldn't be outside without a mask on. I know they would be up in the hotel or wherever they need to be, masked up, being safe, doing their job, doing what they have to do. I know Greg Popovich has enough respect that when Kyrie doesn't show up to play his games, I know he'll pick up the phone if Greg Popovich is giving him a call. I can't really say the same for Steve Nash. So I think that leadership is a huge thing. I feel like if they don't win this year, Steve Nash might end up being the scapegoat, and they have a veteran coach sitting behind him and Mike D'Antoni that's just lying in the wait, maybe to even take over his job.
I have to gladly disagree with you, Phil, and I'm an avid KV fan, and also just when it comes to leadership with him, I think that he doesn't get enough credit. That's just on my opinion. I think that this year will be the test for his credit. I think that even with all this stuff going now, if he loses on KD, if they win, it's not on KD. I don't agree with that. If you're gonna have the scale 110%. If he's winning, then base it on the winning. If he's losing, then base it on the losing. I don't think that is fair that we say that.
Only you putting KD in that situation. We're looking at the Nets as a talent altogether and saying if they don't win, there's something wrong with everyone in that situation, not just KD. I just want you to know from me that yes, if KD is your alpha, which I've always said he is not, I think he's one of the better basketball players we've ever seen, but KD is not an alpha to me. If you're going to consider him an alpha, then you put that burden on him for it to be, if they win, it's on him. If they lose, it's on him. If they win, it's because he's going to have to perform as the best player on that team. But there's still, he could drop 35 a game. If Kyrie don't show up and James Harden don't show up and they don't play a lick of defense, they still won't win no championship. And it won't be on him, it will be on the team. But as a team, if you're gonna say he's the leader, we've had the situations with Kyrie where there was and again, I'm not, and I said it before, I'm not harping on Kyrie, and what he did is just the communication part that Phil mentioned earlier. The way that James Harden left and got over to New York was pretty weird. They traded away a lot of the chemistry built over year talent with Karis LeVert and Jared Allen and these other guys. Torian Prince have been there for a few years. So now with DeAndre Jordan and the situations with KD and all the weird stuff in the media. Again, I know a lot of the media it's New York. They're gonna build up on this stuff, but it doesn't look good from a leadership perspective in Brooklyn. And when you look at all of these red flags, you just wonder. That's all.
Only thing I gotta say about this situation is this conversation right here is the exact reason why LeBron is here and KD's here. That's why Kobe and Mike and LeBron are all up here. And when it comes to the greatest of all time, we're questioning his leadership. You just said, John, if the Nets don't win, it's not on KD. That's not fair. If the Lakers ain't win, it was on Kobe. If the Lakers don't win, it's on LeBron. We don't say, AD didn't come to play. Like, so I don't mind.
You know what I'm saying? I said, if the Nets don't win, it's on KD. If the Nets do win, it's not on. Like, that's how I feel because he got Kyrie and he got James Harden, bro. Like, you can't have it both ways, bro. Like, if you're gonna say that the Nets loses because of KD, you gotta say the Nets win because of KD. You gotta measure them on the same scale.
But what I'm saying is KD don't even like that. So it's basketball is a team game. I just want to win. I don't care who scores, who gets the credit. So you can't do that. And
a lot of players don't. A lot of leaders don't care who gets the credit. They just you know who that guy is.
Kobe did. He said it himself. That's why I needed Shaq to go, so I could have the narrative be ended, saying I can't win without him.
Is that not why Kyrie left? Is that not why Kyrie left Cleveland?
That's why Kyrie left.
LeBron said last year when he won it, he said he wants his respect. That's what leaders want. They want it to be on them. They want it to be on their shoulders.
So let me ask you this: when the Boston Celtics came together, did one guy come out and say, "Yo, let me tell you something. This is my team," or was it a team effort?
Let me ask you something.
You answer my question.
No, John.
Answer my question.
No, John. You
answer the question.
But my question to you is: would you consider any one of those players potentially the greatest player of all time?
No.
Would you say one of those players would consider themselves the greatest at their position of all time?
I think KG thought that he was one of the greatest at his position, and you know, Paul Pierce thought that he was arguably one of the greatest small forwards of his time.
And honestly, they all went to the Celtics, so I feel like it was unwritten in a way that it was Paul Pierce's team. Like, they all evenly contributed, and no one came out and said anything verbally. But I feel like when everybody goes to a certain team and a guy who's established and part of the franchise is already there, it was almost like an unwritten. And
if you look at the after the dust settled, here comes Paul Pierce talk about he won his damn credit. And Draymond Green had to shut that down. You ain't getting that Kobe tour. And then he had to go online and say, I'm better than D Wade. And not online on air and say, I'm better than D Wade. He wanted his credit. So all of the greats, and especially KD, I think KD has put himself in a position with going to Brooklyn, with leaving Golden State, not even leaving OKC, but leaving Golden State, leaving the promised land of grabbing as many opportunities for championships as possible. When you go to Brooklyn and you're saying, I'm here to do it on my own. This is me. I'm here. So he put himself in that position. But I still stick true to my opinion. If he wins, it's because of the great team, and if he loses, it's going to be on the great team, not necessarily specifically on KD. That's just my opinion.
I got you. I can respect it.
I think.
Well, we got to respect time, fellas. Phil, you had something else to say because we about to get off the air, y'all. Last words, parting shots.
Kyrie's always the easy target, so I feel like truly if they do lose, that's going to end up on Kyrie's plate.
I'm blaming KD for everything.
Of course.
He deserves it.
I want to see how they get there. I'm really curious to see the storyline of the playoffs because we all know that they've even said it. They're holding back for the playoffs. So let's see what happens when they get there. But that's all we got for you guys today. Phil, it was great having you on one more time.
Thanks
Shout out to the website so we can make sure that we reach out to the people, make sure that they're following, subscribing.
Yep, www.contentionclub.com. Just want to thank you three for having me. You guys have a great platform here. I tune in every week. I enjoy the show. I hope to be back soon.
You know we'll have you back. And for Married Man Rob and RJ Hunter, who are out of the playoffs as we follow the Knicks playoffs run.
Yo, I thought we said we not talk about it until All-Star break. See, now I'm back in the chat. Now talk about it every day. I'm back in the chat about it every day. You see what you done started?
Read the hard way, y'all. It's been real.